our surrounding community. Okay, so part of tonight's presentation is going to discuss the reasons for the new accountability system, review some of the system, including the indicators of school performance, how our school performed on each of the indicators, and then discuss our comprehensive support and improvement plan. We have a team of teachers along with myself, a representative from PLC, which is a corporation that we contracted from the district, from the state, that's helping us work on this improvement plan. So we spent about 5 or 6 total days creating this plan, and you're going to see some of the outcome of that this evening. So we need to talk a little bit why there's a new accountability system. So there is an ESSA law, which is the Every Student Succeeds Act. It's a federal law K through 12. States receive funding from the Department of Ed to help districts and schools improve student outcomes. New York is set to receive about $1.6 billion annually in ESSA funds. In the Empire State and in our school, the funding supports programs and services that include academic support for students who are struggling, before and after school programs, counseling, mentoring, supplemental supplies for homeless students, and parent and family engagement workshops. Also, in exchange for funding, we must have an accountability system for measuring school performance and determining which schools need extra support. States have the flexibility in developing these accountability systems, and the states can incorporate measures of school success that go beyond state scores. So we need to talk a little bit about accountability and equity. So educational equity means all students succeed and thrive in school no matter who they are, where they live, or where they go to school. Accountability is everyone's responsibility. We should celebrate what we do well, and we do a lot of things well here. Absolutely. We also need to reflect upon what we need to improve and identify the implications of the choices we make. And being identified for comprehensive support and improvement means we will get extra help to assist us in our improvement efforts. And I will say that each of the schools in the district that are identified as CSI schools, each have received $100,000 to start to address some of the issues that I will show you that have surfaced from the PLC data triangle, which was surveys that were sent out last spring. Our 4th and 5th graders took the survey, our entire staff took the survey here, and it was also sent out to the parents. And unfortunately, we only had 20 parents respond to the survey. So I'm hoping that come this spring coming up, when we have to administer the surveys again, in order for us to have some comparative data, we will have more than 20 parents take the survey. So if you look around in this room tonight, this is about the number of parents that took our survey. I also want to diverge a little bit off of this and let you know that we were cited, and I'll go into it a little bit more later. One of the performance indicators that we were cited for was in ELA. The other one was in math. We received a performance level 1 in both those areas. Back in June, I paid to have 600 copies of the summer reading program made up so that they could go home this summer to help prevent summer slide, and this is what I got back. We also have the summer reading program, and I do appreciate 2 of my children that are here tonight that did do it. We also have the summer reading program in the Patchogue Medford Library, and I get weekly updates. We came in dead next. So there are a lot of things that we can do here at the building level, but we also need support from our community. We cannot do this alone. We cannot make the importance of reading with your child at home just a school initiative. We are going to need support from our parents that are committed to working with their kids at home at night. And I'm not talking about teaching your kids at night. I'm just talking about spending time, asking them how their day was, what was something you read in school today, what's something you might have learned in math today, or just encourage your child to read at night independently. All right. Now that I'm off that soapbox. So there are multiple measures of performance that the state uses in order to designate schools as schools that are in good standing, schools that are in need of assistance and support. So New York State Education Department is using several indicators: student academic achievement in language arts, math, and science, student growth in language arts and math, academic progress in language arts and math, English language proficiency, and chronic absenteeism. Those are the measures from the state that they're looking at us and giving us performance points. For every school, these measures are applied to all students and specific student subgroups, such as members of racial and ethnic groups, students with disabilities, and English language learners, students that are low socioeconomic, African American, Asian, multiracial, you name it, every subgroup that's out there, they are ranking us. So how are the schools measured on each indicator? For every indicator, a school is given a numeric score, 1 being the lowest, 4 being the greatest. So this score is assigned to all students at the school. And the score of 1 to 4 is given for each specific subgroup at a school for which the school is accountable. Our CSI designation is because our student growth was a level 1, our combined composite, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, and student growth was a level 1. Our English language proficiency students was a level 2. Our ELA and math was a level 1 for all students group. So if we want to look at the percentile rank weighted on the composite index, so it was 10% or less, we were given a ranking achievement level of 1, 10 to 50% at a level 2, 50 to 75, level 3, and greater than 75, level 4. So I have to talk about the other elephant in the room. We are given a performance score based upon the number of students taking the test. Okay? This is not going away, folks. This state accountability is not leaving us anytime soon. That, I will throw the Joe Namath pass up to you and tell you it's not going away. It's not going away either because we are on the radar here in PatMed. We have an extremely high opt-out rate. And so the opt-out has hurt us in a sense because of the small amount of students that are taking the test. So we have to work together to improve our student growth levels. So when we measure the English language proficiency, it measures the progress of our ELs in meeting their individual targets on the NICES lab, which is the test that they take in the springtime, measures their speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Each school receives a success ratio on this measure based on the percent of students who made progress compared to the probability that a student would make progress. And a success ratio of 1.0 means students did exactly as expected in terms of making progress towards English proficiency. Greater than 1.0 is better than expected, and less than 1.0 is less than expected. So here's the breakdown. On our composite performance, which is the combination of the two, we were a level 2. Student growth level was a level 1. Our combined composite and student growth was a level 1. Our English language proficiency was a level 2. Our average ELA and math academic progress was a level 1. And our chronic absenteeism level was a level 3. So what does this mean? It means our kids like coming to school because we're at a 3. Kids have good attendance. That's great. So that is one area that we won't have to really look to improve this school year. We will get off this list. I know it. I know the caliber of teaching. I know the caliber of our community. But we've got a little bit of work we got to do. I got to get kids to school. I got to get them reading. I got to get them reading after school. I got to get them to do some homework. We got some elephants in the room this year we got to address as a community. So how can we get off this status? For 2 years, consecutive years, we must be above the levels that would cause us to be identified. So we gotta get from a 2 to a 3, we gotta go from a 1 to a 2, a 1 to a 2, a 2 to a 3, and a 1 to a 2. How are we gonna do that? Well, so if we get our composite performance level and student growth level to 2 or higher, we're gonna get off the list. If we can get both the composite performance and student growth index higher than at the time of identification, and combined composite performance and growth is level 2 and higher, and none of the following is a level 1, academic progress, ELP proficiency, or chronic absenteeism. I'm gonna go for that first part. We are gonna have both the composite level and student level, both level 2 or higher come this spring. We also can exit CSI status if the school is not on the next list of CSI schools created based on the 2021 school year, right? So we could technically get off next year, as long as we get our composite performance and our student growth level up to a level 2. Okay, so what do we need to do to move our organization? Because that's what we are. We are an organization. And whenever we modify one, it has a resulting impact on the other components, right? So when we had a large opt-out, we're starting to see what happened, right? So we must understand the significance and consequences of the strategic decisions. And in our data set, we're going to see the good news, right? We've got kids that come to school, and then we're going to see the not so good news. We've got to raise our student performance. So I want to just give you a little bit of background about what matters. So instruction is going to matter. This is based upon research. If you look at student achievement differences affected by teachers, the least effective teacher, you're going to see students make a 14% percentile gain. In your most effective teacher's class, you're going to see a 53 percentile point gain. The cumulative effect of this over 3 years is that the child that's in the least effective teacher's classroom, there'll be 29 percentile point gain. But in the most effective teacher, you're going to see an 83% percentile change. So culture matters too. And I tie this into the student survey, the staff survey, and the community survey, because there were questions on the community survey that talked about the culture of school. So in the average school and the average teacher, the achievement percentile after 2 years is that the child's going to be at the 50th percentile. In the least effective school with the least effective teacher, after 2 years of 2 years, the child's going to be in the 3rd achievement percentile. And we can keep going on and on. Here's where I'm going. See if my pointer works. Right there. Most effective, 96th percentile. Went the wrong way, sorry. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about culture. To put it as succinctly as possible, if you want to change and improve the climate and outcomes both for students and teachers, there are features of the school culture that have to be changed. Out of 500. That's got to change. And if they're not changed, well-intentioned efforts will be defeated. So we're going to talk, that's from Seymour Sarensen, sorry. The data triangle provides a measure of culture. So we're going to take a look at that. So about this data triangle, we had students, 4th and 5th graders took it on their own. I got to see the results and the narrative from their survey, and I was so impressed with how mature and how succinct our 4th and 5th graders were, and how seriously they took this survey. We're going to look at some of the data from them very shortly. We also had the staff take the staff survey. Every single one of the teachers in the building took it, as well as, like I said, 20 parents. That's got to change. I can't have 20 parents out of 600 take the survey. So we've got to change that culture, guys. We need to come together as a community so that we can be the best we can be for our kids. So the data triangle goes from the green side, which is, what did I just do? Oh goodness, I got scared. From strongly agree, all the way down a continuum to a no answer, okay? Then we have strongly agree, somewhat agree, disagree, strongly disagree, okay? So anything in this area here is gonna be a positive indicator, positive benchmark. Anything in here is kind of like, there might be a little cause for concern. And here is, what's going on here? So, if you look at the color coding, it's a user-friendly data set for us to disaggregate the data. So anything that's in the green is going to be considered an asset, and it's scored 75% or greater. The responses were 75% or greater. In the yellow, this is an emerging strength, and that's anywhere between 50 to 74%, and anything below 50% is a possible risk and could create obstacles and roadblocks if it's not resolved. Okay, so we're going to play a little game right now. You're going to play red, yellow, green. And we're going to look at this. This is from the school performance survey. So this is based upon, you have to put your head on as a staff member here, okay? And you have to decide that I receive helpful instructional feedback and guidance from our school leaders. I want you to, on your little piece of paper, just write G for green, Y for yellow, or R for red. Because we're going to compare. We're going to compare what you think to what the staff did, okay? So if you think this is a green, this is an asset, and that the teachers receive instructional feedback from school leaders, you're going to mark it G for green, Y for yellow, or R for red. It's hard to see here, but on the side there's these little letters. So there's an L12. L means leadership. So there's different categories in the survey. So anytime you saw an L question, had to do with leadership. If you see a T question, has to do with teachers. If you see S, it's going to be for student. Here's a T41. Teachers consistently differentiate activities and materials to meet students' needs. This is the teacher's survey. So do you think our teachers think they are differentiating activities? Give it a G for green, a Y for yellow, or an R for red. Green means asset, yellow means could be potential risk, red means danger Will Robinson. Another question in teaching, T59, we have an effective RTI program which provides targeted assistance for students in need. G for green, Y for yellow, R for red. Our school has definitive procedures in place for students who are chronic offenders and or experiencing ongoing difficulties. And then you'll see right over here next to the 98, there's an F, that's for family. So this is a family engagement piece. During family conferences, teacher explains specific data about progress. Ready for the results? Just trying to get you excited. So our staff survey shows us we're all in the green. We want to dig down a little bit deeper here. We're just on the cusp. Remember, 75% is the cutoff to be considered an asset. So we may want to look at our school having definitive procedures in place for students who are chronic offenders and or experiencing ongoing difficulties. In a little while, I'm going to explain our goals, and I'm going to tie it right back to S77. Our school has definitive procedures in place for students who experience ongoing difficulties. All right, let's keep going. Having fun yet? Okay, keep going the wrong way. Okay, student voice. These are our 4th and 5th graders who took this survey, and these are their questions. Remember, G for green, Y for yellow, R for red. My principal, assistant principal visits my class. G is an asset, Y is a little bit of concern, and red is red flag. So again, if you look here, there's and L for leadership, T for teaching, students, and then family. My teachers tell us to ask questions. I have to think in the mind of a 4th or a 5th grader. We use student learning targets or goals, I can statements in our class. My teachers care about me. My family tells me to do well in school. This came as a surprise to me, that only 67.5% of our kids say that I visit their classrooms. I'm gonna look at my teachers. They know that I'm in their classrooms every day, twice a day, usually. So when it comes to the data, I caution us to be a little bit more careful, right? Because I know I'm in the classroom. I know I'm watching and seeing what's happening. But is my presence enough of an impact for these kids? I don't know, I have to question that, right? I have to think about, when I'm going in the classroom, is it that the kids are so used to me being in the classroom that it's almost like they don't even kind of see me, because I'll kind of come in and I might sit down next to a kid and just kind of hang out for a little bit. So you have to look at the data to say, and analyze it to say, what could it be? But I will tell you this, we're going to revisit this shortly when I talk to you about our goals. Everything else is pretty much, this is great for this, we're right up here, 98.4%. You guys are telling your kids as they're leaving every morning, do well in school. I'm proud of you, that's important. So this is an asset for us here. My teachers care about me. 95.4% of the kids responded, yeah, my teachers care about me. Another asset. Still asset, little low in the green, but one of the goals we have this year is that teachers are going to be posting their learning and language targets for every subject. Hopefully I'm going the right way. Okay, family survey. Teaching question, my children or my child is challenged by his or her teachers. Green for yes, Y for yellow, and R for red. It's based upon the students. Procedures are in place to make sure students in need receive services. C is a culture question. Our school has a strong curriculum that meets the needs of my children. And F42, family conferences are helpful. Uh-oh. So 68.4 of the 20 people that responded said family conferences are helpful. 50%, which means 10, think our school has a strong curriculum. But let's talk about this. The school doesn't write the curriculum. The district writes the curriculum. So this might not be something that I address here with my staff on a school level, but it's definitely a conversation on the district level with the academic directors. So again, we have to look at the data and say what's appropriate and relevant to us, what can we control, and what is out of our control. Procedures are in place to make sure students in need receive services. 47.1% said that that is not an asset, could be a potential roadblock. And 65% say my children are challenged by his or her teachers. So one of the charges that we have now is throughout this year, we're going to have benchmarks that we have to meet based upon the goals that we made, based upon the information that we received from the, where am I going? Sorry. There we go. Am I going in the right direction? Oh, sorry, what is happening right now? Okay, so what are the next steps? So this is where we take this data and then we write this comprehensive improvement plan. So there are 5 goals that we are committed to this year. We received $100,000 to help us meet these goals. Some of that money was allocated because one of the goals that we chose together was a leadership goal and how that impacts us as instructional leaders. So the other 4 elementary buildings are going to be involved along with me. The leaders will be involved in coaching and coaching rounds and individual coaching on instructional practices, observations, giving feedback. So part of the money is going for that training with PLC Associates. There's some money that has to be allocated for the spring administration of the surveys that will be coming out again. We also have to build in funding for the team to write the updated plan come the spring. So there are some allocations of that $100,000 that are more kind of the nuts and bolts. But we have about $50,000 to spend here to meet and address these goals. So the first goal is teacher leadership team consisting of various stakeholders will develop a framework for embedding social emotional learning across all content areas and a system to collect and analyze data to monitor the impact of social emotional learning strategies. That's a lot to say, right? So basically what that means is we're responding to the parent part of the survey that said there's something in place for when my child needs something. So we are going to have on Monday mornings, one of the things that the teachers are going to be doing is I met with the team, we reviewed the New York State Education Department benchmarks for social emotional learning. They are then going to turnkey that to our teachers on Monday coming up. Then that team is going to get back together and they're going to finish the work that they started last year, which is a matrix of behavioral expectations and supports for our kids. So the acronym is going to be SOAR, right? Pretty cool, so it's for Eagles, you know, and the S is going to be for safety, and the R is going to be for respect. And what does safety look like in the classroom? What does safety look like on the bus? What does safety look like on the playground? What does it look like in the hallway, in the cafeteria? This is going to be a school-wide shared behavioral expectations for students. And then what are the positive impacts? What's our teaching to our kids? What is the expected behavior and how we're going to teach that? We recognize, goal number 2, we recognize the need for more opportunities to differentiate our instruction for all types of learners and learning styles. We recognize the need to vary our instructional delivery for students who have not demonstrated understanding and or need enrichment. So I will be sending teachers on conferences. I will have to pay for substitutes in addition to paying for them attending these conferences. Then they're going to come back. I'm going to spend money to have them have subs so that they can collaborate for a half day, and then they're going to turnkey this information to the staff. And then through my training, I'm going to be looking at through the observation and feedback cycle if they're implementing the things that they're being sent on conferences that we know are best practices. We're also going to be doing stuff in PDPs with the teachers during faculty meetings before and after school. Another goal is teachers will check for understanding using formative assessment, provide targeted specific feedback, opportunities for student reflection, and reference a learning objective before, during, and after classroom lessons as measured by the collaboratively created walkthrough tool. So this is going to address 2 pieces, right? So this is going to talk a little bit about the importance of formative assessment, but it's also going to give me the opportunity to be in the classrooms, right? With more of a purpose so that when students are asked, does my principal visit the classroom, I can say, yes, through my walkthrough tool, here's when I was visiting the classrooms. Because all of this has to be measured. And so I need these tools in order to measure whether I've improved that 67.5% perception of me being in the classrooms with the kids. Goal 4, teachers will make direct individualized contact with each family at least one time per trimester, and this contact will be logged in the eSchool parent phone log. One of the things that came out of the parent survey is they felt like teachers weren't making enough contact with them. So we want our community to know that we are responding to what they are asking for, and they're asking for parents and teachers to have a closer relationship. So they're going to have a little training to use the parent eSchool phone log. We can then document how many times teachers are responding to parents. This way, when it's time to take that survey, we have the data to support our goals. And then goal 5 this year is teachers will continue to conduct brief 5 to 10 minute individual conferences with students to provide feedback on their strengths and next steps, share their reading levels, and set academic goals. So one of the things that also came out in the survey was, providing rigorous instruction and a curriculum for the students. So this is one way that we can do this more on a building level. And I think it's important for kids to set goals, to take that ownership of learning. That's one of those high yield strategies from Marzano's work that gives us a real bang for our buck, and then that ties into the student growth piece. I don't know why that came up. All right, so spring of 2020, again, we're gonna go back. There's gonna be 3 surveys. Students in 4th and 5th are gonna take the survey again, staff are gonna take the survey again, and parents are gonna be asked to take the survey again. So that's like the Reader's Digest version of CSI designation. So before I turn it back over to our PTA, I wanna ask, does anyone have any questions? If you don't have questions tonight, you can always call me. You can email me if there's something you're not sure of with the designation. I'll be happy to sit down and share it with you. But, as a building principal, it's hard. It's hard to stand up here in front of the community and say that we're a CSI school.
I've got a whole list of things I want to tell you about. First and foremost, our treasurer isn't here tonight, but I wanted to let you know the executive board passed our budget and we have copies available if you'd like to take a look at it. They're at the back table. We've got a lot of upcoming events. We've got Meet the Teacher Night, which is on September 17th and 18th. The 17th is kindergarten through 2nd grade, and the 18th is 3rd through 5th. At each night, we will have a PTA table available if you want to pay your membership fee or if you want to order spiritware. Hi, Billy.
Can you let them know we're going to have SEPTA and the library here too?
We're also going to have SEPTA and the library available here as well. SEPTA is the special education PTA organization that the district has. As you may have seen in your kids' backpacks, along with every other piece of paper on the planet, there was a Miss Chocolate fundraiser. Those are due back to the school by October 18th, and we will distribute all of the orders on November 20th. Picture days are in September this year. They are on the 25th and 26th of this month. Your teacher will be signing up, and we will publish the schedule via our social media information, and your teacher should send a note home letting you know which of those 2 days your student will be photographed. We love having volunteers for picture day, even if you just come in and make sure your kid's hair is okay. That's mine. 15 minutes, 20 minutes an hour, or if you want to hang the whole day, we'll order pizza and have a good time. Volunteers are more than welcome to come and help us with that. The picture retakes, provided your kid's hair is jacked up and you need to get it redone, is November 7th. And that will be a 1-day event. They'll call kindergartners in the morning, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So we can't guarantee what time your child will be going through for retakes, but we can promise that a parent will be here to make sure that there's no food on their face. We have a book fair October 15th through the 18th. That's 3 full days. The teachers schedule 20 minutes to a half hour per classroom. They come in, they walk around, they pick out a couple of books. You guys assign a budget. As many volunteers or as possible are great. It helps the kids decide what book they want to get, handle their money, perform the transaction with our cashiers. We have a pumpkin patch. That's on October 24th. That is a during school event. The PTA pays for a pumpkin for every student in the school. We lay them out on the field, and then each class comes out and picks a pumpkin. We usually take a group shot, and then everyone comes home with a pumpkin for Halloween. And the teachers decide whether or not they want to decorate or do other interesting things with their pumpkins. We are always looking for volunteers to help unload the pumpkins in the morning. That's 600 pumpkins. Takes a little muscle. They're not like huge, like the massive 200-pound ones. We're talking like 2-3 pounders.
Chairperson.
Oh, we also need a chairperson for that. We need someone to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Mrs. Prochaska will discuss more in depth what is involved in being a chairperson. It's not as scary school at night in their Halloween costumes. We have a Zumba class in our big gym back there. Glow in the dark lights, it's dark, it's loud, it's fun, everyone has a good time. And once the class is over, then all of the students proceed to go down the kindergarten, first grade hallway and get treats at all the doorways. Mrs. Gleason, raise your hand, is our chairperson and is looking for volunteers to help run a cash box. And she's got a host of other things that she will love to have assistance with. So please say hi to her and see if you guys can help out. Moving on into December. I'm going to stop at December because it's 7:40. Holiday Boutique is December 11th, 12th, and 13th. That is your child's opportunity to bring in a small dollar amount and purchase gifts for you. They get to make the decision on what they'd like to give you. It's usually something a little small, like a Christmas ornament or a little necklace. Sometimes a little pashmina. Scarves, hats, coffee mugs, you know, good stuff. And then we also need a chair from Holiday Boutique. This is for Chaska, we'll discuss that one. And then there's Polar Express in December. Mrs. Shine and Mrs. Whitehead share that event. It has always been magical and fun, and they have crafts. Santa shows up. We do pictures with Santa. Actually, I do the pictures with Santa, so you come in, you have a seat with Santa, you'll receive a photo, either a 4x6 or a 5x7, depending on the budget, of your child with Santa Claus. That is provided by the PTA.
What's that date?
Hmm?
What's the date of that date?
That date is December 16th.
And what's Spooky Zumba?
Spooky Zumba, I'm sorry, is the,
29th?
thank you, 29th. That's the one date I did not write down on my notes. All right. Now, Mrs. O'Brien is one of our wonderful second grade teachers, and she chairs our cultural arts. So she is responsible for booking assemblies throughout the year, and since she wasn't able to be here tonight, I told her I would give you guys a quick rundown of what our students will be experiencing this year. September 12th, which is what? Thursday, we will have a presentation called Be Awesome. I do not know the details, but it sounds awesome.
Character ed program,
A character education program.
which
So-
ties into the SEL, social emotional learning.
Alright. November 26th is the Diversity Circus. Now, those shows are in the morning and they're during school, so parents don't attend. But what we do have is we have one or two board members, our historian or myself, or any other board member will come in and take photos and videos so that we can share with the community what these assemblies look like. December 13th is Wacky Science. January 16th is Journeys into Iroquois Indians, and that is for the fourth graders. January 27th is our park kickoff. The entire school gets in here and they get all jazzed about reading. March 27th is Dumpster Dug. I don't know what that is, but that sounds pretty cool. And June 22nd, we have the Ultimate Human Board Game, which will be held outside. And we will have pictures and we will have videos. And if you have any questions regarding these events, just get a hold of me or Mrs. O'Brien, and we'll be able to answer questions as well as Mrs. Scalo. That's it for me. I would like to have Mrs. Prochaska come up and discuss a few things. I'm going to hand it over to her.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kelly. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I know that this is a long meeting, so we appreciate your time. Your time is precious. But again, like Mrs. Kelly, I want to tell you all, advocate. We would love for any of you to volunteer. I see a lot of our volunteers and chair people in the audience. We have Mrs. Rosello, who has chaired in the past, and Mrs. Gleason over there. We so appreciate our chairpersons, chair people. Fathers can chair as well. And we would love to announce that anyone who chairs this year will get an Eagle t-shirt that we're going to be, Charles, you want to stand up for a second? Yes. They will get a shirt, an Eagle shirt. Not that exact design, but a shirt. So we really would love to encourage you to be a part and join us, even if it's for an hour to volunteer at Picture Day when your child is having a picture taken, or during the book fair. It's a great way to see the environment during the day. see your child for a few minutes, pick a book with them. We would love to have you, even if it's for half an hour. But we do understand your time is precious. So the two events we're looking for help with is the pumpkin patch and the holiday boutique. And of course, the question I always get is, what does being a chairperson mean? Do I have to give 60 hours a week? Do I have to show up every day? What does that entail? It's really just setting the date with us, working with us, the PTA committee. It's also getting in contact with the vendor, working on the communication with me on social media. We will work with you step by step. And we do help you. So it's being there at the event, making sure that everything is confirmed, and helping us attract volunteers. So we promise you it is painless. Mrs. Rosello, can you confirm?
Yeah, no, it's painless. I want to enjoy the next year.
Yeah. So, absolutely, if anyone would love to raise their hand, you can reach out to us. Please join our Facebook page if you have not. You will see updates on events, just so you can stay in line with what's going on. We're going to have a calendar that's published monthly with our events, so that you don't miss a thing. And Member Hub, please join the PTA. You will have access to Member Hub where you get reminders. I loved it. I got a reminder tonight to be here for the event. So with our busy lives, it's very, very handy. Okay? And so Pumpkin Patch and Holiday Boutique. If anyone would love to volunteer, please come see me. We'd love to have you. And any questions? Yes.
The date,
Yes.
October 24th, is that a Friday? All the events are Friday, or is it during the week?
Yeah. Different events are different times. So the Pumpkin Patch is during the week. The Holiday Boutiques are during the week. So just because you chair an event doesn't mean you have to be here for every event. It's just really helping organize it. So we will help with staffing with volunteers. It's just another set of hands to organize. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. Okay. And since we are running short of time, I just want to introduce Brett. He's going to talk about the Father's Club. I see we have a father here. Can you stand up? Can you get a round of applause? You're going to actually, you have to stand, yeah. That's it.
So good evening. Thank you for coming. I did want to talk to you about something a little bit different. As my wife kind of pointed out, if you look around, we're a little tight on our participation in the PTA. So one of the things that we're interested in as a program is really something called the Father's Club. It's basically being an alternative or an add-on to the PTA where fathers can participate and kind of help out and be involved. If any of you have students that are in Oregon, you're not. Okay, so you may be familiar, in Oregon there's already a Father's Club, and that's where I took the idea from. I can't claim it as my own, but it's a really nice club. It's a bunch of fathers that care, they look after their kids, very good group of people, and what we do is we go to all the events and support the PTA in things like traffic coordination. You know, all the people that are blocking exits, that are driving around like crazies, we're out there to try and kind of help that and make sure that we get everything a little bit smoother. Children that may get a little bit out of line, running around the hallways, we'll direct them back to where the event is. So really it's just a group of guys. We wear red shirts, we're easily distinguishable. We get together for all these events, help in any way we can. We've done things such as painting things, moving things, just helping in various different directions. A lot of times we look to you, where you need our help, what can we do to support? And really it's just kind of an opportunity to guide the kids, another support lever. And selfishly, it's a great opportunity to see who your kids are hanging out with and get a good idea of what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So that's something we're interested in doing. We'll look to get my email out and see who's interested in participating. I'd be willing to go and kind of put that together and run that. And anybody who's interested, please bring that back to your husbands or anybody in the area that might be interested and maybe are a little bit resilient, may not want to be part of the PTA, but maybe want to be part of the Father's Club.
Would that be a separate fee from the PTA?
No,
or?
we're not. Any questions on that? Comments, thoughts, ideas? Is it something that you think might be interesting?